Hi, and welcome to the Thinking Out Loud podcast, a show with meaningful conversations in English with non-native speakers. My name is Jędrek.
My name is Masha.
And we are two English teachers who
decided to keep working in the summer. This summer.
Oh, we are cool. We are great.
Why did we decide to do that?
Because I guess we wanted to make the summer a bit more interesting to our students.
I thought you were going to say we want to make this world a better place.
No, I'm not that. I still want it to be a better place, but come on. All I can do is I can actually design a series of meetups for the fans of our podcast. This growing number of fans. And that's it. Maybe we'll be able to meet and talk off the record, exercise our brain cells a bit during that, difficult period of summer, difficult for the brain.
Yeah. Everybody's looking forward to that. To this difficult, the most difficult time of the year. Okay. And what are we going to talk about?
Yeah, I decided because it's me, Jędrek, who is responsible for let's say the first leg, because there are two legs of our Thinking Out Loud Unplugged in plan, right?
In plan,
July and the August, yeah. And since I sort of volunteered to design the first leg. It's going to be based on the French bac exam in philosophy. It sounds scary, but it's basically the high school exam for teenagers, and well, the
light and easy.
Light and easy, the subjects or the questions, that we are going to ask are going to be based on exactly this high school final exam in philosophy. The questions, because Masha, I monitor the questions each year, ever since I came here, and
you
that's
like
been
this exam,
7 years now,
don't you?
I love it. I love the questions. I think they are something to think about. They are extraordinary, and at the same time, they are general enough to give us, a lot of room for, maneuvering, explaining, and answering, and so on. I think we are going to have a lot of fun talking about all these serious matters like happiness, like work, like truth, or language.
Yeah. So that's what French teenagers do at the end of
yeah, school. Exactly. I was thinking, wait a second. The French teenagers, I repeat, do it each year, of course, under pressure and stressed out, I believe, because the results of that exam matter for their future. But for us, it's going to be fun. We do it voluntarily in the summer. Yeah, and I just want to say that the less prepared people come, the better.
Why is
it's
that?
Not like you have, because I think it's great, if we adult people can confront these questions together, brainstorm a bit, think out loud, and come up with some sort of conclusions, hopefully.
So there's no list of recommended reading.
No, not at all. I mean, I think possibly people could be in shape. I mean, not drunk.
Oh, that's how low our requirements are.
That's the requirement.
Yeah,
don't be too drunk. Don't be too drunk.
A glass of wine is fine.
And other than that, I expect to have a lot of fun, a lot of Masha communication, meaningful communication, because since the questions are philosophical, we need, of course, to communicate, to work together, and to brainstorm a little bit before we can formulate the answer. So that's it. The French back is going to be the leitmotif of the first 10 meetups in July.
So if you're interested, go to TOL Podcast.
TOLpodcast.com/summer. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
And do we have a guest today?
Of course we do. It's like, it was kind of a question that, of course. And the guest, once again, I'm extremely grateful to Twitter as a source of our guests. Last time it was Father Mateusz, with great conversation. And right now we are going to have another Twitter follower as our guest. His name is Dawid. And I honestly, I didn't know Dawid before because Dawid is not an active Twitter user. He's not posting, so and he's not getting into a lot of interactions. But I was totally surprised when we met here, for the first time, and what kind of a reasonable and great person he is,
Yeah, fantastic.
So we invite you to listen to our conversation with Dawid about the pace of life. I'm not going to reveal a lot. You're going to listen to it, hopefully. And that's it. Our website remains the same. It's TOLpodcast.com. All the links, all the possible links are in the description, including the voicemail. And that's it, I guess.
Yeah, so meet Dawid.
All right. Hi, Dawid. How are you doing?
Hi, Jędrek. Hi, Masha. I'm fine. How are yourselves?
All right. Yeah, I'm really happy. I'm really happy you're here because you are one of the guests who is not really our student, but you come from, let's say, the orbit of the Thinking Out Loud podcast, and that is basically the Twitter account. So this is how we got to know each other. Tell me, what do you think of Twitter? Like, how often are you using it? And
I'm like a consumer of the content being there, following people, following concepts or brands maybe also used for technology. I'm less involved in being an active Twitter user. So
exactly. I wanted to get to know you a little bit, but it's not like you're tweeting or okay. So you're just lurking.
Yeah, you may say so. But that's it is like consuming some time of my day. I need to kind of limit this as well. But when I see some kind of interesting stuff, like for example, you tweeted who would like to participate on the podcast, it's I kind of was like,
all right, you couldn't resist.
Couldn't resist. Also, languages are one of the things I'm interested in. So in that sense, yeah, why not?
Is it your first podcast?
Yes, yes, it is. But I would be lying if I said I didn't think about having a podcast.
Yourself?
Yes, having a podcast myself. So also to maybe together with my wife, as I mentioned before, off the record, we do some stuff in education. So maybe in that way,
that's a great idea. I'm definitely keeping my fingers crossed for that. Let us know, everybody. Once you launch your podcast. I know, of this kind of information that I've got about you. I know that you are quite a globetrotter. I mean,
Eurotrotter, I would.
You've been, exactly, Eurotrotter, yeah. But you've been around, so and you also speak several languages, right?
Yes.
So I just wanted to ask you about your experience, with English, with other languages. Do they come easy to you?
So for me personally, I would say yes. So maybe that's a piece of maybe a talent, like a trait, a personal trait for people that some things come easier than the others. But my English, it didn't come, as I mentioned to you, it didn't come through kind of more formal education. It was like through experience, through talking to people, through having conversations, professional or at school. I also speak German, which is like this more formal education that I had for several years at the primary school, then later on in the high school.
German is honestly my Achilles heel, you know, because I've had a really long education in German. That is, you know, 8 years in my primary school, then 4 years in my high school, and then 3 years at the university level. So you can quickly do the math, and it's 15 years of studying German. And what do I know now? I mean, yeah, I can read a bit, you know, and understand, you know, this or that, but when it comes to speaking or generally communicating in German, I'm totally like I feel like I haven't been schooled at all, you know. Strange. I guess it speaks volumes about, you know, education.
But yes, it does. But actually, you learn language by using it. When you know, at school, you barely use the language, so you have like overcrowded classes with 30 people. So what can you learn? You can learn a bit of vocabulary, some grammar. But then when you go in a real life scenario, just buying some bread when you go there, then for some people it's tough.
Yeah, and you know, and all of that education was, I guess, prior to this, you know, explosion of podcasts, of everything, you know, of the sources, materials, and so on. Because if I really wanted right now, I could immerse myself in the German language, right? Listening to podcasts and participating in, I don't know, some discussions on forums and so on.
Nowadays you can. So
yeah,
before like 20 or like 30 years ago, you couldn't. So.
And what other languages do you speak, David?
So it's English, it's German. I
Czech
like
language.
Yes, Czech. I like to say I'm also speaking Czech. Also living for a year in Prague, and as Czech and Polish are similar, it came easier also to learn it, or to kind of combine it through Polish and kind of transform my Polish language into the Czech, but it wasn't really like a formal education. So here I can have a conversation, I can understand everything. That's one thing that I also put on my CV.
All right, great. And what about your Danish language? Because you mentioned that you have some links to Denmark.
Yes, with Danish, no. With Danish, I work in a Danish company. So, but with the Danish language, it's kind of difficult because they all speak English. No matter if you're old or young, they all speak English. But here with Danish, I also tried Duolingo. This is also one thing that you can do. So I learned a couple of useful words and a couple of useless words as well.
All right, great. Yeah, I mean, Duolingo is good at teaching useless, you know.
Yeah.
All right, great. So David, we'd like to ask you maybe the question of the day. And it's great that you are, you know, the kind of Eurotrotter, as you said, because it means that you lived in various places, in various cities, and right now you live in Elbląg, right, in Poland. Right, great. So tell us just, you know, a few things about Elbląg, like if you could recommend the city for, I don't know, to the tourists, you know.
Okay, so Elbląg is like a very beautiful city that is located in the northern Poland, which is very close to the Baltic Sea. I will speak shortly about the nature, because the nature around Elbląg was how I remember from geography classes, it was like built by the glacier. many years ago. So it's also called like some, I would say, hills there, forests.
All right. Yeah.
So the nature around city is very beautiful. The city itself has like a very nice old new town, because after the Second World War it was devastated, but then gradually
it was rebuilt.
It was rebuilt, and it was rebuilt in such way, in a modern way, but reflecting on what it was. So it's not really like a old town.
It's so like it's the same like in Warsaw,
new old
right?
Town.
I guess.
Tough to say, but it was rebuilt with this kind of retroversion concept.
Okay.
So I don't know if Warsaw was also built that way, but here Elbląg, this old town, is also kind of being built as we speak, and it's pretty very beautiful.
And there's a lake.
There is lake. No, there is a lake. There are also discovered some Viking village, and so you can also see traces of the Vikings around Elbląg.
Wow, that's a place to go.
That's
what
a place
about,
to go. Definitely.
David? What about the pace of life in Elbląg? Because this is the concept we would like to discuss with you.
The pace of life is slower than in the nearby Tree City. So Elbląg is near to Gdańsk. It's like 70 kilometer east from Gdańsk. It's not like a big city. It's Elbląg has like around 100,000 people living here. The pace of life is, I would say, not that hectic. So people have time to visit each other, which you don't have when you live in a bigger city. So I can say about, I don't know, Poznan in Poland, 500,000.
So what do you think? What do you think makes up the pace of life? Because it's strange. Is it the size of the city, the number of people around you, or what do you think builds this pace of life?
Activities people may have outside their professional life. So it was often or maybe commuting to work as well. So when you have more time in your free time, in the afternoon, in the evening, you can also meet with people. But the pace of life, I would also say, it's driven by the mindset of people. So just they focus on some other things than in bigger cities, and you can tell the difference.
So what I mean, so basically it's about mentality, like the big city mentality and the small town. The small town mentality doesn't sound right.
Yeah, that's what many Ukrainians now comment. I teach a lot of Ukrainians who now are living in Europe, and they say that it's the difference is huge. The pace of life, and they live in big cities, sometimes in capital cities. But comparing to Ukraine, they all notice that people have good work-life balance. Their pace of life is slower, much slower, and a lot of people actually appreciate
where is it
in
slower,
Europe.
Masha?
In Europe,
than in Kiev, for example,
yes, than in Ukraine.
Wow, why is that?
Do they feel pressured to do some things?
No. On the contrary, they are enjoying it. At the beginning, it's difficult. Many people kind of maybe resisted it at first, because we're used to, doing things very quickly. You're always rushing, making money here and there, using every opportunity. But but slowly they grow to like it. That's what I notice, talking with my students.
It's very interesting what you say, Masha, because it looks like what the GDP per capita is deciding about your pace of life. If you're, because
it looks like my observation is that the more kind of, let's say, security people have in their lives, the less they would agree to, work overtime.
Yes.
Even if it's a chance to make more money, they kind of are not, maybe it's not a good trade-off for them anymore. But this just my theory,
That is very interesting. And David, you mentioned you spent 1 year in Prague, in the Czech Republic, or in Czechia right now.
Right now, Czechia, right.
So how do you remember the pace of life in Prague?
It was my last year of studies, so it was also kind of combined with some student activities that you may do.
All right.
I was also working there. But if you are in such a place that is very known also for tourism, very beautiful city, plenty of people from all around the world being there. There is people rushing from one place to another to see
these are tourists,
to see the castle. They are tourists. So I wasn't really seeing this corporate kind of life there. So I was also enjoying my time there. Also kind of sightseeing and stuff, but kind of as a local person. So kind of I liked to go to some this nice places, but look at them from a different angle, to like get lost in the streets and like deciding now I will turn left and then I will to the right.
Yeah, this is what you can afford if you're not a tourist. If you're not a tourist, you can basically, you can come back tomorrow or the other day, and that's great,
Yeah, and let's see what I find out. Maybe some nice places that the tourist doesn't see, or and I will maybe reflect on, Masha, what you said about the security of life. If you feel the security, if your need of security is fulfilled, then you don't need to rush. You don't need to chase any upgrade of the standard of living. So you don't need to worry about your relatives, about your family, and then you can just focus on the other stuff, like reading books, like sitting with a coffee in the garden or whatever.
But I'll tell you
going
what,
to a park with your children,
or going,
but I'll tell you what, I don't know if these are urban legends or reality, but many people who live in, let's say, capital cities, work for huge companies, corporations, they dream of, at a certain point, of their careers, they dream of leaving everything and going to the mountains of Bieszczady, for example, right? And starting some sort of, totally different life, producing, I don't know, making cheese or something like that, right? Or running some sort of agriculture, activity. And I wonder, because, that means that the pace of life outside of the city is definitely slower, right? Or because it's
no,
not
I
much?
live in the country, and in the summer it's no, people wake up at the crack of dawn, and they go to bed when the sun.
Chickens, it's like chickens, it's like, you
right.
live, if you live in the countryside, you live like chicken.
Well, I don't know what they do in the winter.
Like a rooster decide the rooster decides, when you wake up and when you go to bed.
So I mean, they are super busy. People in
but
villages
being
in
busy,
the summer,
Masha, is not necessarily equal to having a fast pace of life, I think.
I don't know. You look back at your summer and it's like, what happened?
But I know, but it's different when you have a boss who's telling who's throwing these deadlines at you, and it's different.
But here, nature throws deadlines at you. It's much worse than a boss.
The agriculture is like a tough job. So People must do something at some particular time and the particular moment of life. And if the weather forecast tells you it will be raining, then you need to rush to, I don't know, harvest something.
All right, but Masha, you talk about the summer. You talk about the summer, but what about the rest of the year? I mean, it's not like you're rushing all of the time. There are times when you have to, you know, speed up a bit, but then there's winter time. And what is a farmer doing?
I have
then?
no idea. I mean, they probably drink heavily,
Because,
or sort of hibernate.
yeah, but you can't do that in a big city if you work for a big corporation, because there's a workload that never ends. You know, you finish one project and in the other one starts, or you know, the other one starts even before you finish your previous one.
That's kind of you're right saying that. So there is no time of kind of being idle or waiting for the task. You need to do something. And also you gave this example about winter, but if you look at, for example, the people that are working at the Baltic shore, or serving fried fish and chips, so they have like a very short window of kind of gaining their money.
That's why the prices are so sky high, crazy, you know. Because they have to earn for the rest of the year. The year.
They collect everything. Then maybe when the season ends, they will do some vacation. They earned it, of course. But then the winter comes. There is no tourists, and then they slow down, kind of charging their batteries for the next battle next year.
Yeah, or I don't know, probably they do some other jobs, right? I can imagine. I don't know, honestly. All right, so wait a second. Let's try and organize the knowledge that we gathered. You know, so what does the pace of life depend on? Is it the size of the city, the GDP, the season? There are lots of factors, right? But
how could it be on the GDP per capita for a big city? So I would say,
I mean, well, sorry, that's maybe a mental shortcut because it's linked to the security, Masha, right? I mean, because let's say that if you're rich, whatever that means, then you can afford. But that is bullshit. Sorry to say that. It's not true. I mean, rich people can sometimes, run like crazy. I mean,
not rich, but when your basic needs are met and a little bit more, like this.
So you say like a middle class, higher middle class,
robust, middle class. I don't know. It's just, I'm collecting this information because I talk to people, and this is what they all say. They give examples, like, for example, you in who was it, in France, and they were shooting something. They rented a studio and they promised to be finished by 5, and of course they didn't manage to finish by 5, and they were trying to pay extra to I don't know if it was the owner or it was just an employee, but she was like not interested at all. Doesn't matter how much you offer, or your car breaks down, and it's
that is already... France.
No, another example, it was actually Czechia, and the girl, she had her car broke down, and she found a mechanic or something, but it was already after hours. Sorry, no matter how much you pay, look, sorry, my working day is over. I have other stuff to do.
So they put boundaries to their personal life. Like that's where they distinguish the work life and the personal life.
That's what everybody says. Work-life balance is very good, in Europe. Well, at least comparing, because we compare, of course.
Yeah, but you have to sort of respect yourself, right?
You have to, but when you have to, bring food on the table.
Pay the bills, exactly. But that leads me to another question to Dawid. What do you think? Are we masters of our pace of life, or are we sort of let's say slaves, but are we somehow, puppets in, of whatever the circumstances we live in?
People surely aim to control their schedules. Therefore you have time trackers. You put schedules just to know what you are doing. Some people get kind of addicted to the action, and then they are slaves of their of the tasks. The more tasks you do, the more satisfaction you get. It's this like instant gratification. I made a task. I accomplished something. Okay. There is no reflection. There is no time to rest. And hey, let's go. Let's take another one. So here, I would say in this, you were talking about smaller cities, bigger cities. In smaller cities, what I see here, for me personally, Elbląg and the size of Elbląg is great. So I can finish my work on time, like before 5. I have some more time maybe to do some shopping, to go with my son to some classes after, some exercises. And here I control it. That's something I enjoyed. It's something that's something that brings benefits to my family. That's to my son. And here I'm really happy. Whereas in the bigger cities, in the capitals, you commute to work.
And that consumes a lot because you probably don't live like in the city center, which is very expensive, right? Unless,
but now a lot of people work from home, so they don't have to commute anymore. But the pace of life.
Yeah, what happened to the pace of life? It's kind of, but Masha, there were, and I think I can confirm that too, that that the workload is even bigger than it was before. So kind of the time that you save up for commuting, you spent on doing additional work, sort of.
Like what?
Like, I don't know.
That's certainly not the case for me. I'm really, really happy not having to commute, and I don't do extra work. I don't know what you're talking about. What extra work?
Well, you could teach an extra class, like, in the time.
You mean you use this time wisely. It's not additional work. You make more
but
money.
it's interesting,
You can buy more ice
I
cream.
wonder, honestly, I haven't read any report or article about the influence of the remote work on the pace of life. I know that in Paris there is this concept of métro boulot dodo, and that means you take your the metro to work, then you have boulot, that is work, and then dodo, and that means sleep. So there are just 3 things in your life, and that's the capital city, right? This is what you do, métro boulot dodo. It's that's how it works. Or once again,
what the people get from it. So they are just working, commuting, sleeping, like robots.
Yeah, they are like robots, but this is quite addictive. I think I will never forget, one in the past when I was still living in Warsaw. It was Friday evening, and there was some sort of a party. I attended in was kind of a, why was I there? I don't know, but it was in the building of the Warsaw Stock Exchange. It was like a party, champagne and so on. And then it was like 10 p.m. and we say, okay, now we go to the club. And one guy says, oh, I have to go back to my office, and finish the job, I'm doing. It's like, what? It's Friday, 10 p.m., but that's and it's not an isolated case, I think there are plenty of cases like that, unfortunately.
There's also this, so I don't know if it's real, like an anecdote. One of these big 4 consulting companies, like people met in the revolving door. Someone was leaving the office, someone was coming in. It was like 4 p.m. and the one guy asks the one leaving, "Hey, it's 4 p.m. What are you doing? You're leaving the office." "Yeah, but it's my day off." So that's
that sounds it. That sounds it beautifully,
so that's that's the thing. You choose what you choose what you do, and yeah.
Yeah, but but coming back to this question, do you control this pace of life? I mean, it's sort of you could definitely wield certain control, but I guess that the city where you live also decides about it. Can you have a slow life in a big city, like really slow life?
The company you work for also decides it.
Yeah, your employer, exactly.
The culture, yes. So
culture for sure.
If your employer is one that that work-life balance is something important, that they appreciate or recognize work-life balance as something that is important. Not all do. So this is for the people working there. They will choose family over, I don't know, over hours. So that's I would say that's natural if the boss is kind of compassion about also and cares about their employees, then the people tend to be more happy, right? So and they work in the company that is good for them. So I'm fortunate to work in a Danish company with this Scandinavian way of living. So this is something. This is something very
Denmark,
important.
I think scores always like in the top
Yes.
3, or if not the first place in terms of the happiness, or sorry, I don't know what's the ranking, what's the name, but it's like
number 1 is Bhutan. They even have their Ministry of Happiness.
Oh, seriously?
Are they really that happy?
Most like it.
Never heard of Bhutan. What's all right. Fine. But David, one more aspect of this pace of life. What about possessions? Do you think that more possessions translate on faster pace of life? The more you have, the faster your life is going.
I would say it would be combined or to the nature of the possessions, what kind of the possessions it is. Of course, if it's real estate, I don't know, it makes you some passive income, or you're wealthy. If you have a fast car,
yeah, but they also, but also, I mean, the real estate generates certain problems unless you hire a company to outsource, that work, because there's a leaking pipe here, and other problems over there, and so on.
And that's the thing. The more you have, right, or it increases the number of things that you should manage, and
worry about.
And if you if the person that we are, like this hypothetical person that we are talking about, has that much things to worry about, of course the pace of life increases, and increases significantly as up until, I don't know, a breakdown, or the person realizing that it's not good for not good for him, for the family, so maybe he hires someone to manage these things for her, pay like some extra money, but that and then the pace of life slows down, and then you gain more time with your loved ones, and the general overall happiness increases. So I would say it's how much do you have on your plate?
Then there are people who don't have anything on their plate, but they still feel that because maybe their life is so uneventful, they also feel like time is just drags and drags.
But isn't it that maybe about their expectations? So if people expect so manage the expectation, so it's like the bigger expectations are, the bigger disappointment is if the reality doesn't met these expectations.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you wake up
here,
and you have like, oh my God, I need to do this and this and this, and then you didn't do anything. Feel like a
and you feel
loser.
bad about yourself.
Yeah, yeah. So no plans. Jędrek,
Well,
why are
maybe
you
no
frowning?
plans. It's the
No,
thing.
no. I mean, I'm because I'm still thinking. You know, the two brain cells that I got
Are fighting?
you know, and yeah, they're fighting. You know, but David, you said that, or at least, you know, I've got this impression that family is where you can slow down, right? And work is the source of, you know, a faster pace of life and so on. And I'm thinking, you know, because I'm a father of two right now, and there's so much work, you know, after so much work, especially with small kids, you know,
Yeah.
and you know that when finally they go to bed, me and my wife, we're sweating, you know, we're really sweating. And Masha, also you said that I told you that being busy doesn't necessarily mean having a fast pace of life, because I wouldn't say that being at home and tending to my children is increasing my pace of life. It doesn't. It makes me busy, but my life is actually pretty slow because I'm in my flat, you know, we go for a walk. I don't know what, you know, I'm spending time with my
But what
family.
is it feeling of slow? When you look, when it's, you know, Monday again, don't you look back at your weekend? You don't understand where this time went.
Yeah, Masha, but yeah, you're right, absolutely, you know. But then again, then it's Friday
And
again,
it's your
and I'm like,
birthday, and you're like, oh my God,
yeah.
what happened
Yeah.
to those 20 years?
But you know what? I wouldn't link. I know it's bizarre, but I wouldn't link the pace of life with how fast the time is flowing, because these are two different things.
But then what is it,
I
the pace of life?
think the
Number
pace
of
of life is like,
events.
Events
exactly, David. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's like how much happens, because, you know, if I spend the whole day with my kids and I'm busy like that, you know, but nothing really happened in this life. You know what I mean? Like we were together.
Well, then it depends how you define
But
events.
if I got like 100 phone calls and emails, and then I have to go here for a business meeting and there, and then I've got a flight, you know, to Berlin and then coming back and so on the same day, I guess, you know, and I did so many things. I met so many people, and I guess this is the pace of life.
I would say, but the pace of life, how you can describe the pace? Is it fast, slow?
Yeah, fast, slow, yeah.
Kind of full of events, or empty on
I mean,
events?
this, you know, that
Because,
this, you know, this velocity, I don't know how to call it, you know, it's exactly about I don't know.
But
I
you know,
want to
you
say
have a lot of
events, but
events during your day with the children. It's just that they are so repetitive.
yeah, you're right.
Because
But also, so I've got another idea, you know, is the number of faces that you see. This, and yeah, because, you know, if you live in a big city and you've got these, you know, masses of people rushing here, rushing there, you know, everybody's in a rush, and that sort of generates this feeling of a fast pace of life. Everybody's hurrying somewhere. Because I'm not in a hurry, you know, when I prepare dinner for my family, you know. I mean, unless it's late, and you know, but no, normally I'm not in a hurry, but I'm busy. I'm totally busy. But I wouldn't say that, you know, it makes my pace of life. In fact, when it happens that, you know, my kids are sick and I have to stay with them, well, life is
it's maybe when
slowing
you have to
down, you know?
rush. Maybe when you have to rush.
I guess.
And if you have to rush a lot, then you feel like, you know, the pace is fast.
I would say so, but yeah, I was also, yeah, definitely. Or because, you know, things may happen to you directly, you know, you receive phone calls, you have to rush, you have to go, but you may also read a lot of news, for example, like, you know, something happened in Paris, something happened in, you know, here and there and all over the world. And this information, the flow of information, is also influencing your pace of life. Because, even though you sit at home, you've been to so many places. I mean, thanks to TV or the internet. You're all silent.
It has something in it, and what you mentioned about this plenty of information that we are digesting.
The flow. Exactly, because
on a daily
we digest
basis.
a lot.
It makes you kind of nervous. But we can kind of think about how does it make us feel?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we are constantly on the edge. It's like, oh my God, they have to do it. It's like
this FOMO stuff, fear of missing out. So you will check your phone for some information. There is this email coming. There is like some kind of Twitter
constant notifications.
Facebook.
Yeah.
You are always online, and then your wife calls, then your father calls, and everything is there. And we are kind of bombarded with information, and maybe that's the thing that drives the pace of life. This is our maybe responses to this information.
the number of incentives, the number of notifications, even that we get. So you could definitely like live in a small village, but if you are bombarded with the news, you can have the pace of life equal to the capital city.
Exactly, and you can ruin your peaceful village life with all the with watching TV, with scrolling Twitter. It doesn't make a difference where you are scrolling Twitter, whether it's like a village, of course, the internet reception there, or in a skyscraper in the capital city. So the Twitter feed for you will look exactly the same.
Exactly.
In Warsaw or in Elbląg where I'm sitting. So that's the thing. I can drive it. I can plug out from social media, and then out of the sudden I don't have it. So it's also
and you suddenly you feel like, okay, nothing really happened, and my life is
really happened.
Slower.
It's boring. So, but I drive this. So here. Returning to what you asked at the beginning, do we control the pace of life, or the events are controlling us? Kind of, we do. So we can plug ourselves out. So we can do this silent moment, just to be with your own thoughts. And this is sometimes also for people difficult to be with themselves.
Yeah, it's and the big tech companies don't want it. They want you to be constantly plugged in. For sure.
Yeah, they make money out of it. So they want a lot of data point. You have a nice.
They want every second of your attention. Yeah, also that they can monetize. Okay, so maybe it's time to sum up and to reflect on what we said. So the pace of life, this mysterious pace of life, is. But you guys, you nod or give me a sign if you agree or disagree. But it's not equal to being busy. You agree or not?
I don't.
You don't. Okay.
So... Because you say events. What is event? What's not event? Because I remember my time on maternity leave, and I was, super busy, and I felt like I don't know where this time went.
But would you say that your pace of life back then was hectic, was crazy?
Of course.
All right.
I mean, there were routines, of course, but it was crazy.
But then again, you were probably spending your time in one place, or I know, strolling in the park from time to time.
Yeah, the same route every day.
So it's not like someone who's I know, flying to 5 different cities in a day. Like like I know presidents or prime ministers do.
Still,
So it's like
not rushing anywhere. So if you are rushing somewhere, and the pace is of course kind of bigger than if you are not rushing. But,
I was rushing all the time, because you need to do certain things by this
and the
time.
baby's
Otherwise,
crying, and
you have a tantrum.
All right, great, fine, Masha. I get the point. Okay, so the next thing, the size of the city. The bigger the city, the faster the pace of life. Do you agree?
I would say partially. So it's here it's up depending on the person. So
I subscribe to what David said, that we can kind of control it to a certain extent.
We do certain things to ourselves. So this is
but also with the broadband internet, I think it has somehow leveled out. This the capital city and a small town may sort of have comparable pace of life.
Things which are available to you as a dweller of a big city, they're not the same as a small city. Town.
I will maybe say about, because we also picked up the topic of working from home. So in that sense, the size of the city doesn't matter. But I would one important thing here, and one crucial thing that one need to be mindful of, is this mental health of working from home, because people when working from home tend to kind of be online more. And kind of then neglecting the other stuff, but here it's really important just to have it mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. Last but not least, possessions. The more you have, the faster is your life. What do you say?
I would say
yes or no. So all right. Masha,
I imagine I have a villa somewhere in Spain and a private jet. I don't think my pace of life would be faster than now.
Yeah,
maybe
but
even
just
slower.
because you probably, but probably you outsource, the maintenance of your jet and your villa. To someone, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it works like
but
that.
If I have a very, very old, ancient, I don't know, Citroën, my pace of life will be very fast.
Yeah.
And I know what I'm talking about, because I used to own one 20 years ago. Jesus Christ.
All right, great. There was also the flow of information. I think it's also an important factor in building or shaping our pace of life, right? The more news we kind of consume, the faster it feels, because this is changing. You don't have time even to reflect, right? It's just All right, great. David. Yeah. David, thanks so much for this fantastic conversation. I think I feel great right now. Masha, I guess it's over to you right now.
Thanks everyone. Words, Thank you everyone for being with us. And this was another episode of the Thinking Out Loud podcast. Stay tuned for the next one. Bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.